Hello, everyone, and welcome to Creator Weekly Live for the week ending December 3rd, 2023. I'm Peggy Kay, and today there are some updates for YouTubers and other video creators. There's updates for people with a website. There's some new AI tools, so we'll see what we have time to get through. I also wanted to mention that later today at 12:15 Pacific time, my time, I'm going to be in another live stream, Commitment 2024. That's where I join the On eBoard group that I'm part of, and we talk about how we met our goals for the past year and what our goal is for the coming year. It should be interesting. And while only On eBoard members will be live on screen, if you want to join the discussion, there will be a live chat. There's a link to that live stream video in the video description. All right, so let's get started. This week, I first wanted to give a little notice that if you are a YouTube partner, your deadline to submit your US tax forms in AdSense is December 10th. You need to submit those tax forms even if you are outside the US. Otherwise, if you do not submit the US tax forms, Google will withhold up to 30% of your YouTube revenue. If you submit the tax forms, it will be only a percentage of the US earnings that you have, earnings from US viewers, and you may be in a country that has a tax treaty with the United States, which means they will withhold a smaller percentage or maybe nothing at all. This also is retrospective for the entire past year. So, as the announcement says, once updated tax information is received, Google may recalculate 2023 taxes and, where applicable, refund the difference. So this is really important to do if you have not done so already. So let's get started with some of this week's product updates. The first one I wanted to mention is for YouTube partners. If you have memberships enabled on your channel, you should check out the latest Creator Insider video. There are new analytics tools where I hope you can see, whoops, that is not what I meant to do.
This is that.
All right, so I lost the video that I was going to share with you. So I will hide that on screen. One thing that's new this week is new information and analytics for YouTube memberships. So you can check in analytics where people joined, where they started subscribing as a member to your channel. You can also see reasons why people ended their subscriptions. This is something that YouTube asks when people cancel their membership subscription. So if you have memberships on your channel, you should check that out. The Creator Insider video has a good overview of what those changes are. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about really briefly is something I need to call up on screen. And The next thing I wanted to mention briefly is that TikTok is launching artist channels. Now, this is for people who are music artists. And the idea is if you set up an artist account on TikTok, you will get a special label on your profile. You'll also have some features like being able to promote new releases of your music and so forth. So if you are a music artist, that is worth setting up. And the next thing I wanted to mention is something that is new, believe it or not, from X, although I should say that it's new from Twitter, because this is something that is still branded as Twitter, but a new feature from X/Twitter is that when you choose to embed a post on your own website, you can choose whether you embed the entire tweet, or if there's a video in the post, whether you just embed the video. So this is a nice option if you have your own website, your own blog, and you want to embed a video that was posted to X/Twitter. You can then choose to have it just as the video. It's much more similar to embedding a YouTube video or Vimeo or whatever video that you embed. I think that this is one of the things X is doing and trying to promote more video. I'm not sure it actually works. I don't remember the last time I saw a video that was uploaded directly to X, but it's a thing they're trying to do. So be aware of that if you do share video to the platform. And just as an interesting side note, there is a report that, if I can find it here, I'm obviously, here we go. There's a report that says that TikTok viewers are watching longer videos. This is an interesting direction TikTok is taking, trying to maybe pull some viewers away from YouTube and maybe Twitch. I don't know if they're also doing live streaming, but what they wanted to tell people is that viewers on TikTok are watching videos that are longer than a minute. So that seems to be a bit of a shift. So those are the main video updates for this week. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about how you can update your website. So there's two updates from Google talking about how you can mark up your website for various kinds of information. The first is that they will start recognizing structured data markup for forums and profiles. And this is really useful because Google also is showing more user-generated content in the search results. They want to highlight information from regular people who might have experience or expertise in a certain area. This markup lets forums more easily present that information to Google. So if you have your own forum, you can add this markup. The other update from Google search is that it is also recognizing more structured data for organizations. This is structured data that helps Google correctly show information about an organization in the search results. So again, if you have your own business, this is something you want to consider on your website. So those are the big updates for this week. I wanted to shift gears really shortly to mention a few things that are shutting down. So there's new features that come out. There are sadly old things that are taken away. Just really quickly, the first thing that I noticed this week is that MailChimp is shutting down MailChimp is shutting down TinyLetter. TinyLetter is a really simple email newsletter platform, really easy to use, not a lot of bells and whistles, but if you just want to send out emails to people, it's great. It's going to shut down in February, and MailChimp says you have until then to export your data. So if you have a newsletter hosted on TinyLetter, you want to consider whether you want to migrate to MailChimp itself, which is, of course, what MailChimp is hoping you will do. And the disadvantage of that is that you get a lot less on the free tier than you did with TinyLetter. So you'll have to consider whether it's actually worthwhile to do that, or if you want to consider another platform. And this, of course, is an opportunity for me to segue into the mention that my own email newsletter is hosted on Beehive. Beehive is a really richly featured newsletter platform. It is more similar maybe to Substack or something like that, where you have a lot of formatting options and you can send emails out, and you have a web presence as well. So you could essentially kind of use it as a blog if you wanted to. So I'm on Beehive. If you want to subscribe to my weekly email newsletter, there is a link in the video description. The other thing that I saw this week that is shutting down, unfortunately, is Evernote. And I should say Evernote is not shutting down, but what they're doing is limiting free accounts significantly. If you have a free account on Evernote, and it's sort of a notebook, note-taking app, you can only have 50 notes and one notebook. So that is a big change. They say if you have more than that, well, you can delete it. And you can also export the data, I believe. So if you use Evernote, you should be sure to sign in and check that out. So those are some of the updates that I think a lot of people will be interested in. The last thing I wanted to mention is that Tumblr is turning off its Tumblr Post Plus option. Tumblr Post Plus was an option to offer subscriptions to your Tumblr content. So you can do it the same way you have memberships on YouTube or various other subscriptions. You have unique content for Tumblr Post Plus subscribers to your blog there. Apparently, it didn't really get very popular. So they're turning it off. Tumblr has said that they are going to be simplifying things over the next year. So if you have a Tumblr blog with Post Plus enabled, you need to think about what you want to do with those subscriber-only posts. They are going to be set to private, and then you can choose what to do. You can leave them private, or you could publish them, and so forth. This is a difficult thing. So creators want to earn a little money, especially people doing a lot of creating. Tumblr and other platforms may not allow you to show your own ads. I think it's especially tricky on platforms like Tumblr that are very much visual, and people use a lot of third-party content. There's a lot of images from movies and TV shows and so forth that might be hard to monetize with ads. So there are no options to monetize your Tumblr blog with ads. Now you can't actually offer subscriptions. They are leaving up the tip jar feature. So if people really like your content, they can send you a little tip. It's not clear to me how well that actually works for most people. But like all platforms, Tumblr is struggling to find ways that they can monetize to help keep the platform running and have creators get a little remuneration from their fans. Those are the big updates this week. And I will say that usually things are winding down by the end of the year. It seems like there's still a lot of things happening. I suppose that is partially because all these companies, they have things they want to finish by the end of 2023. If they're going to do that, it has to be now. All right, so let me shift gears just a little bit and say that this is kind of a neat thing. If you've wanted to learn about how to use generative AI, Google has a free course you can take this December through Google Cloud. It has some hands-on sections. You may need to be a Google Cloud customer to do some of those, I'm not sure, but at least the introductory sessions where you're learning about how generative AI works, those look like they are all entirely free. So if this is something you've been interested in learning, you may want to take it out, take a look at this. You start with the foundations, you learn about large language models, you can get a generative AI fundamental skill badge. It's always nice to get some kind of recognition about the information you know. And then you can get an introduction to how image generation works. So once you've done all that, you can go and actually do hands-on projects to learn how to set up generative AI yourself. So of course, this is Google wanting people to take this up and then, pay for Google Cloud services, but it seems like an opportunity to learn a lot. And I may check it out myself if I can find enough time to actually do that with the holidays coming up. So just as a last little neat thing, I want to talk about some of the new features that are mostly AI-based. And Google has them, there's a bunch of them. So just to talk about this briefly, if you use Google Messages, they are celebrating 1 billion RCS users. They are launching a new feature called Photomoji. If you are using Google Messages and you're in a chat and you can't find the perfect emoji, what you can do is take one of the own images from the gallery on your mobile device, and it will cut out an object and turn that into an emoji. If you're in a group chat, everyone in the group chat can then use it, and it saves it for later reuse, so you can use it multiple times if you want your cat to always be the response, for example. So that's kind of a neat feature. It's obviously using AI tools to cut out the background. And let's see. Another really cool tool is announced this week is from Pika. It is an image to video AI platform. So you start, whoops, that is not what I meant to do. All right, so you start with an image and it can generate a video from that. It talks about the practical applications being marketing and advertising. If you are a filmmaker or animator, you can create realistic scenes or animations. You can create interactive educational content, and you can, of course, bring your photographs to life. They do mention that there are some ethical concerns, as always, with AI tools. This is something I believe is free. So you might go to pikalabs.org and see what their tools are and give it a try. I think that there are a lot of AI tools that are in the pipeline that are going to let people be really creative with their own content. And I just wanted to say hi to everyone in the chat. Thank you for joining me live today. I see Craig and Sal and Mark. And if you left a comment and I missed you, sorry about that. But I really appreciate you showing up live, and I love to hear what you think about this week's updates. So the other thing I wanted to mention for AI generation is a tool from WordPress. They have a business name generator. This is linked to their domains business. Of course, once you have generated your business name and picked one that you really like, they want you to get a domain with that. But this is a free tool that anyone can use. So you can use the instant business name generator. You enter your keywords, and then it spits out a bunch of possible names. You, of course, have to do research to make sure you're not taking a name that someone else has already used, or that there's no, problems with the name. But it seems like it could be a good way to kind of brainstorm new names. And of course, then you can get your domain through WordPress, even if you don't have a WordPress site. It's just a domain registrar. I want to say thank you to Sal. I'm glad you stopped by. I know the YouTube killing the tested flagger program was not awesome, but what can you do? Things change. I hope you check out more of the live streams. It's good to see you here. And the very last thing I wanted to mention is a new fun tool from Google Arts and Culture, where you can play with different instruments. The idea is that they have instruments from all around the world, not just pianos and guitars. and it will use AI to generate an audio clip with this instrument based on the sort of mood you give it. And then you can use that generated music to create your own music. So that seems like it's a lot of fun. Sal says, saw your Twitter comment and I thought would come to see if you're still going. Hope all has been good. Yep, all has been pretty good. The live streams are fun. More interesting than most of Twitter is these days, but what can you do? So those are the updates for this week. Thank you so much for joining me live. Subscribe to the email newsletter if you have not. There is a weekly quiz on the community tab of my channel. If you have not taken this week's quiz, be sure to give it a try. See if you can test your knowledge. And that's it for this week. As I mentioned, I'm going to be in another live stream on the On eBoard channel at 12:15 Pacific time. We're going to talk about our commitments for 2024. There's a link in the video description, and you're welcome to join the live chat. Thank you, everyone, and I will see you next week.